Hey there everybody, it's Susan with Pumpkin Hill Stampers. This is my Stampin' Chat, and today I thought I would just go through some of the demo swap cards that I've been receiving in my mailbox from demonstrators across the USA. We sign up with each other, and what we do is we each create a card, and so let's say there's 12 demonstrators that do it. So I would make 12 of one card, and then I send those out, and then I get 12 different cards back. So it's kind of a great way to collect samples of different stamps and also different stamp styles. We each have our own technique or the way we like to lay out cards. So it's kind of neat to have a physical card to touch and explore and dissect and say, hey, I could do that too, or I really like the way somebody did this. So these are all from the holiday catalog that's still available until the first couple of days of January. So I'm just going to take you through the cards and tell you what sets they used, and maybe you'll get an idea of a card that you also want to do. Okay, so for this first one, they used the Quilted Christmas Suite. There's a fun new embossing folder, and there's these felt embellishments, and I'm not big on felt because I always feel like they're a little too bulky, but this one is nice and flat and it coordinates so nicely to create a Christmas card, so that one's really cool. Okay, this next one is a wreath. This one is Feeling of Christmas. It's on page 16 in the catalog, and they've added some rhinestones and pearls, which is kind of different to use both to embellish that up, and they also used the designer series paper Merry Music, which is really nice paper to add. Just kind of simple background, but also kind of elegant. I always think music paper sheet music is always kind of a fun element to use. Now this next one is Santa's Suit. It's a fun set. You'll find it on page 23. Teresa at one of my recent stamp events thought this was a really fun set, and she's like, oh, we need to do a bunch of cards with that, and I said, well, you order it because I'm not going to order it, but now that I've seen and I'm holding a sample, it's a really cute set, so kudos to Teresa. So it will probably end up in my collection. Hopefully they won't retire it. Usually that's what happens. The ones I don't buy right away, I then do buy before they go, and then they retire them. But that's the life of a stamper. They come and they go, but then you have them to use. So that's a fun with the black and white and red. And for those of us who really like to color, we can color all those in. I believe it's a two-step stamp though, so you can stamp those shapes in as well. Okay, moving on. Smitten Mittens. It wouldn't be the holidays without mittens, now would it? Now this one they used the small mittens, and it's actually a pretty simple card to case. This is a piece of DSP. I believe it's out of the Daisy bundle. It's a backside. Sometimes you see designer series paper with a product like the Daisy Suite, but then don't forget on the flip side there's usually a muted design or color pattern as well, and so that works really well for this winter card. It kind of looks like snow down there. Okay, moving on. This one uses Merry Little Labels and some of our designer series paper and a neat holiday ribbon, and they've stamped that in our white ink, so you have to let that dry a little bit, but that is kind of a fun way to use black on a card, but it still looks like Christmas, and it's kind of fun pop with that green going on, that lemon lime twist. Here's a fall card just in time for this week. This is Painted Harvest, and they've also used Labels of Love here, and this card is a Z-fold, so when you open it up you have kind of this hidden panel where you can write a message in, but then they can put the card on their mantle or on their, where they keep their cards. You know, people keep them on windowsills or desks, and so your message is kind of tucked away, but they have the beautiful card. So that's kind of a fun pattern, and they use that designer series paper out of Painted Harvest, and they've cut the flower out and then did the leaves with the punch. So that's a nice fall card. Here is Wise Men from Afar. So they've embossed in black, and then looks like they've sponged the color on and put in the trees. They've embossed in silver the star there. So that's kind of a neat way to emboss and sponge color. The messages are inside. Now this one is going to be an all-time favorite in my house. We are drummers. Well, I should say my husband is a drummer, and my boys both love to sit there and play on his drums as well. So this set is from the musical season, page 25, and it's using that Merry Music Designer Series paper as well. And they've created a shadow, so there's there's a die cut out, but it's backed with a black die cut out, so it creates that dimension on the card. So that's kind of a fun Christmas card. This one is using seasonal layer thinlits to create these snowflakes that's in the Colorful Seasons suite. And then they used our holly embossing folder for the background. And I think this Merry Christmas comes from the Star of Light set. So you'd have to double check me on that one, but I think that's where that comes from. Here is another quilted Christmas card. They've used that same folder, but this time they stepped it in. And then they've used the die cuts and they've married it with our foil snowflakes. So that's kind of neat. Okay, here's the next one. This is Beachy Little Christmas. And I think this set is really cute, especially for those of you who are in Florida or the southern coast and they have Christmas on the beach. I know, sandals instead of galoshes. Good for you. I'm glad you do it. I actually like the snow, but I think Christmas on the beach would be a lot of fun one of these years too. So that's got a lot of detail in its set, and they have stamped and embossed this in white on the crumb cake. So that's kind of a neat card. For those of you who are snowbirds down in Florida or the southern warmer coast. Or, you know, if you just have a lot of family that, you know, would think that would be really neat. So I think it's really neat. I like that a lot. Alright, Christmas sweaters. I know a few years ago, and probably still, the whole ugly sweater thing. This isn't that ugly of a sweater, though. It's cute. It's got gingerbread and cookies and stars and candy canes. And they've used our knitted cable knit folder behind that, so that marries up very nicely to make a card. And then our last one I'm going to show with you today is another one with Wise Men from Afar. And again, they've used Designer Series paper as the background and stamped right on the Designer Series paper. So it's color on color. So very monochromatic. And then they've just layered it on silver for a mount and then white so it stands out. And then usually I would line the inside of a darker card. So that's my little chat for today. Here are those cards again. They're all fantastic. They really, really are. I really like that one. I think this one stands out great. This one is just plain fun. Really a lot of fun. I know some of you are going to really like that quilted one. And, oh, and the wreath. The wreath is always a good one too. Wreaths at Christmas time fits the season, I think. So I hope you visited with me today and enjoyed this little Stampin' Chat. If you have any questions about sets that were used on these samples, you can just shoot me an email, Susan@pumpkinhillstampers.com, or that's pumpkinhillstampers.com will get you to my website with my blog, and there's a contact me button, so you can email me if you want to be on my newsletter, if you want to host a party, if you need a catalog, whatever you might need, go ahead and contact me. I'm happy to help you in any of the ways you might want. And these are not yet posted on my blog as photos for you to look at, but I do post the swaps that I receive in a blog category called Demo Swaps. So you can also find the photos there to look at again. So I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next week for another Stampin' Chat. Okay, everybody, have a great day.